Hello, my name is Clay Clark. On today's edition of the Thrive Time Show, attorney Lin Wood and I conduct our fifth fireside chat, where Lin Wood shares the atrocities in the dark world of Jeffrey Epstein, child trafficking, and corruption at the highest levels. Although Lin Wood has been one of the most respected attorneys for decades, many people have been questioning his sanity as he reveals the insanity and the absolute evil of child trafficking. However, despite the threats and the negative comments and the questions of his sanity, Lin believes that the time is now to reveal the darkness and to act to stop these evil atrocities now, once and for all. I have 5 kids. Everybody listening to this show, you once were a kid. Everybody out there knows that child trafficking is absolutely wrong and corrupt. But what if the child trafficking world was being used as a way to manipulate and to control America's government and business leaders? What if our government and business leaders were actually being controlled? Not many Americans know the actual content of Hunter Biden and John Podesta's laptop, but Lin Wood does know what's on the laptops, and he's here to reveal the truth today with you. As a quick editor's note, many of you have reached out to me, and actually thousands of you have, by texting the number 918, that's my phone number, 918-851-6920. Again, that number is 918-851-6920. And this is what you've been requesting, and I'm just going to read you the recent text messages we've received from literally thousands of great Americans like yourself who just want to know what's going on. People are texting, please send me proof that wearing a mask is not healthy. People have said, please send me a link to the George H.W. Bush funeral so I can see it with my own eyes. Another gentleman says, please text to me the irrefutable proof of the 2020 election fraud. Another Thriver texts, please send me the 270-page Sidney Powell election fraud report. Another Thriver, and I'm just reading these, they're coming in right now. It says, please text me the information about ivermectin, budesonide, and other proven effective COVID-19 treatments. Another listener texts in, thanks for your dedication to ensure that these rapist pedophiles will be dealt with swiftly. And we go on and on. But I'll just tell you, if you're listening right now and you want to receive the video footage of the George H.W. Bush funeral referenced by Lin in previous episodes, just text me, 918-851-6920. If you want to receive information that proves that the mask mandates make healthy people sick, just text me. If you want to receive the information that shows the 270-page Sidney Powell report that exposes the election fraud and provides you 100% irrefutable evidence of the election fraud, just text me. If you want proof that the COVID-19 models that said that 2.2 million people might die were nefariously false and that they were actually created by Neil Ferguson of the Abdul Latif Jameel Institute and funded by Bill Gates and Amazon, I can send that to you. If you want to see proof that the PCR tests were in fact fake and falsely calibrated, the PCR COVID-19 tests, just text me, 918-851-6920. So again, only the truth will set us free. So you're never a burden, but I want to empower you with certain tools. So text me directly to 918-851-6920. 918-851-6920. And I'm going to text you a package of verifiable links. Also, you can go to timetofreeamerica.com. That's timetofreeamerica.com, where everything we discuss on today's show is cited. Again, that's at timetofreeamerica.com. And now, without any further ado, we go into today's troubling, eye-opening, corruption-exposing edition of the Fireside Chats with attorney Lin Wood. All right, Thrive Nation, we are back yet again with Lin Wood for a fireside chat. And Lin, you have been sharing some pretty profound, mind-altering, paradigm-shifting knowledge bombs with the Thrive Nation, sir. Welcome back onto the show. How are you?
Well, I'm a little tired, but as I've said before, what's new? It's been a long going into almost 2.5 months trying to fight for truth to be established in this country.
You have been an attorney for how long, Lin?
43 and a half years. June will be 44 years.
And I'm just asking you a few questions that the listeners want to ask. And I will tell you, I'm getting text message from thousands of listeners who are in support of what you're sharing. But a lot of people want to know, have you lost your mind? Now, I have not. I know you haven't, but I mean, if anybody looks at your Twitter feed today, many people are asking, has this guy lost his sanity? Lin, why do you think people are reacting that way to the truth that you're sharing?
Well, let me first give you the short answer and the long answer to your question of whether I've lost my sanity.
Okay.
The short answer is no. The long answer is no. So, people are raising questions about my mental health because the people that are at risk can't attack my message, so they attack the messenger. There was a noticeable uptick in tweets and accusations of mental illness right after I posted on January the 1st 2 tweets with respect to Isaac Cappy, where I strongly suggested that Mr. Cappy had information that was very damaging to some very prominent and powerful people all over the world. And the people that know about Mr. Cappy, that were involved in his death, that was a signal to them that I have the treasure trove and I have the key to it. And I made clear in a second tweet that day that I had shared that key, in fact, what we call a dead man switch. So in an effort to try to limit the chances of them killing me, I have arranged that if something happens to me, there are any number of people that will trigger that switch and the information will come out. So they can't kill me to hide the truth. It's that serious, Clay. So it doesn't surprise me that they immediately come out, start trying to demean me, accuse me of mental illness, tell me I need to be arrested. It's par for the course. I expect it because I am dead over the target now. So it's probably going to get worse. But the truth is going to prevail. The people that have followed me on Twitter, the people that are knowledgeable of my entire career as a lawyer, know that I speak the truth. So I've made these statements not out of unsound mind, but I've made these statements with a completely sound and logical and analytical mind, always pursuing truth. Been doing it for 43 and a half years. Didn't change overnight.
So let's break down. 15 hours ago, approximately, we're going to push this show out tomorrow morning. So this show should be coming out Tuesday morning, the 5th. You wrote here, though, I have no idea extent of blackmail scheme of raping and killing children. But given the number of agencies involved, the hundreds of thousands of missing children, and the otherwise inexplicable actions of many powerful officials, celebrities, and business leaders, I fear the worst. Lin, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about a worldwide common practice by the 10 elite intelligence agencies in this world. Not the agencies necessarily themselves acting as the agency, but rogue members, or perhaps not so rogue members of these intelligence agencies that have made it a practice to engage in capturing powerful individuals, engaging in acts of pedophilia on camera so they can blackmail them. I've also received information that scheme often has involved requiring the perpetrator of the rape of the child to execute the child on video. That makes it almost foolproof that the person being blackmailed is going to be owned entirely by the blackmailer. They're going to do what they want to do in court decisions. They're going to do what they want them to do in judicial and legislative decisions. They're going to do what they want them to do in government positions like our House of Representatives or State Senate. And it's not unique to America. I think they use the same tactic in other places around the world. So I described it as it was described to me. Literally, it says that they would basically have a gun, a child, a camera. They'd force the person to have sex, or they'd have sex, and they'd force the person to kill the child. Now, does that mean that's the 1, 2, 3 of every blackmail situation?
Well,
I don't believe so. but I wanted to describe it as it was described to me for accuracy's sake. There may be many instances where they simply have people willingly engage in acts of pedophilia with children. They video it. Then later they say, look what we got. So it's not they have to kill every child.
Yeah.
But I know that there are 460,000 missing children in America right now. Where did they go? Why is nobody in authority focusing on the real pandemic in this country, the missing children? And when I said I fear the worst, I fear that many of those children have been executed. Even if it was not during the filming of a scene, at some point in the future, they kill the child. That way the child can never be a witness. Have you ever wondered why more people didn't speak out about some of the atrocities that were committed upon them at Jeffrey Epstein's island? There's only been a small handful, and those people have been attacked, ridiculed, condemned. These were people that were victims, Clay. Some of them very young. Their lives horribly shaped at an early age by the most heinous of crimes. So do they kill them on camera? I'm afraid they do. Do some of them get killed later? I'm afraid they do. This is a problem that the world has rumored about. There have been people that talk about it. Nobody's had the courage to come forward and call it like it is. This is the biggest problem facing this world today, because they use this control to control politics, government decisions, business decisions. They're using children to shape their view of the world toward one world government, where there's an elite ruling class and then a subservient class that is subject to tyranny. That's what they have in store for America. That's why I've been trying to sound the warning horn. I've been trying to shout from the rooftop of the internet, at least, because that's the best way you can get the word out these days.
Yep.
To try to get America prepared that we got to wake up. We got to deal with this. 2021, we've got to clean up the corruption and the perversion that has existed in our society for far, far, far too long. This didn't get invented yesterday. They've been doing this for years.
Lin, I have 5 kids, so just processing what you're saying as a dad, it's crazy. It's overwhelming. There's no words. There are people out there that are wondering what you're talking about. You're talking about, you tweeted here, you said, after the actor Cappy received the hacked files from member of Lizard Squad, he gave files to one friend and the encryption key to another friend. He provided this information to his friends shortly before he was murdered on May 13th, 2019. Members of Lizard Squad were jailed for hacking. What is the Lizard Squad?
The Lizard Squad, as I have been told, were young people, and they were what's called black hat hackers. In other words, they were hacking various computer systems, databases, to get information that could be then used by them for perhaps nefarious purposes, or perhaps for blackmail, or to get money paid to them to get the material back. In other words, they weren't the good guys, but sometimes it's the bad guys that end up getting ensnared and end up being the good guys. But these hackers hacked one of the 10 agencies' database. The 10 agencies don't know which of the agencies was hacked. So the Lizard Squad ended up going to jail on other charges related to hacking. So they've been silenced. Cappy, from what he wrote before he died, he had lived a troubled life. And it had come to the point where I think he found God, or at least he sought to redeem himself. And he had these files. He released one that I'm aware of that has been seen on the internet. And so I made a blurb of it today, and I published it as an example of what we've known in the past that it shows. It's 2 young girls in a Turkish bath shower, I understand, in Dubai. So Cappy, I'm told, and he wrote, he delivered information to President Trump. Or did he? Did he give it to the president directly? Probably not. I don't know if he gave it to the FBI, but he probably gave it to some government department to give to the president. Don't know whether the president got it. I suspect not, because within a matter of a few hours, Cappy died in a very mysterious manner, where they said he drove himself off the road, and then he walked back onto the road, and he was run over and killed. Tom Hanks, a few hours later, tweeted the address of where he died with the phrase in his tweet, roadkill. These people are perverted. They are evil. They've got to be identified, and they've got to be brought to justice, and the penalty should be the harshest allowed under our legal system. God's going to deal with them eventually, but we can't send them to hell, but they ought to be dealing as best we can, being punished with what would be considered hell on earth. These are little children, Clay.
I as a father of 5, I mean, this is you wrote here 1 hour ago. You said if real Donald Trump, or if President Trump orders military to seize documents, Chief Justice Roberts, Rod Rosenstein, Nancy Pelosi, and many others will be immediately arrested. Documents must be seized before they are destroyed. Time is now of the essence if this part of the Kraken is to be successful. Lin, explain to us what you're trying to say there.
Well, that's another. What I would say now is another part of the Kraken. There are documents that document under the guise of national security. They were sealed in a lawsuit in Maryland. A lawsuit where a man who was in effect a whistleblower, formerly a CIA agent, was charged with some false crimes. He fought it, and those documents, evidence, conversations involving Chief Justice Roberts, Nancy Pelosi, Rod Rosenstein, James Clapper, I believe, John Brennan, and John Podesta. I'm sure there are others. They were discussing the successor to Justice Anthony Scalia before Justice Scalia's untimely death of an alleged heart attack. Connect the dots.
Wow.
Every one of those people need to be in jail. They need to be put under the hot light of interrogation, and every fact should be admitted. Every lead should be followed. I suspect there are a great number of people who are involved in that crime beyond the people who I've identified. But I've put the information out there. I'm afraid that the bad guys, as I would call them, maybe I should say worse, but that's the best I'll do it, or the worst I'll do at the moment, where I can see a scenario where they might go into that courtroom record and they might try to destroy those sealed documents. That's why I would like to see the president move quickly. I have provided that information to the president earlier, but he's been blocked. I don't know if people have gotten it to him. So I pulled it out tonight on the internet so that hopefully he will see it, and he will act. But there's a dead man switch on that one too, Clay. I know how that information can still come out to the public. So if they try to destroy it, I tweeted they're not going to be successful. They're going to only implicate themselves as being complicit in the crime.
Lin,
I tried to cover a lot of bases. I'm not an investigator, and I'm not a chess player.
Right.
But I do see ahead, and I try to make arrangements all my life as a lawyer for worst case scenario. I tried to figure out how, if everything went south, I could still win the case.
Yep.
I've done the same thing as I've approached the information that's been provided to me by a number of people that I have deemed to be reliable sources.
Lin, final 2 questions for you tonight here. Many listeners, kind-hearted people, people who don't have an axe to grind with you. They actually are your fans or supporters. They're loyal to the cause. They love America. They're wanting to fight back. These are we the people that want to fight back. They're wanting to know, what can you show them, Lin, to prove to them or to show to them? What kind of evidence can you present to the audience, to the listeners out there, to Americans in the court of public opinion? Many people are wanting to see if you could share with them some more information. What can you share? What can people look forward to you sharing? Tell us about that.
Well, it's a delicate balancing act. There are laws against some of the things, obviously, of public publishing these videos.
Got it.
Or even possessing them. So let's just say they are in a place where I'm not violating any law.
Got it.
So I can't run out and put something out there just to satisfy someone's desire to see it. Sometimes you have to simply accept that the person telling you something is telling you the truth, and that it will take time before you can actually see it if you ever would want to. I can't imagine wanting myself to see some of these things.
Right.
But I know they exist. I know there are other things that exist. I know what's on Joe Biden's son Hunter's laptop. I've seen parts of it. I've seen some parts of what's on John Podesta's laptop. When the public learns the truth about these people, I don't know what punishment they'll demand, but I think it will be the extreme punishment of death. These are children. I don't want to overstate that. I can't overstate it. I can't overemphasize it. We're talking about a perverted criminal mind that uses and preys on the sexual desires of people dealing with small children. They take these people, they put these young people on drugs. They get them to perform the acts necessary to be used. Then in many instances, they send them out on the streets. They're drug addicts. They turn to prostitution. And what do we do as a society? We lock them up. We've got to rethink what we're doing to these children. We've got to learn to care for them and try to heal them from the experiences they have suffered. Too many of them are not capable of being healed because too many are missing. I think too many are dead. This epidemic is not just in America. There are thousands of missing children around the world. Child sex trafficking is the single most important pandemic facing this country and this world. Nobody seems to want to do anything about it.
Yeah.
The media doesn't want to talk about it. There's no money put into law enforcement to deal with it, although there has been an uptick from President Trump in the last couple of years. I think this is a subject matter near and dear to the president's heart. I think he's going to take action on it. I just pray that President Trump has some of the information, if not all of the information, and perhaps more of the information than I have. If he does, he'll release it on his time schedule. I've tried to wait and do it in a timely fashion.
Yep.
It's not my place to supersede the president. I don't represent him. I haven't talked to him about any of this. I've acted on what I believe or the feelings in my heart, which is where I find that God most often talks to me. He resides in your heart. I turn off my brain. I ask my heart what to do. I do it.
I just feel like what you're describing is an atrocity. It's wicked. It's cruel. It's an atrocity. And I feel like what you're sometimes no good deed goes unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished. I mean, you're shining a light on the corruption, the dark world of Jeffrey Epstein, child trafficking, and you're putting a bright light on these things. A lot of our listeners want to help you. They want to help support. What can they do? I mean, do you want them to share this show with everyone they know? Is that what you want them to do? Do you want them to research something? What can our listeners do to help?
Well, your suggestion is excellent. They can share this information. They can share this broadcast. If they want to help protect me, the more people know the truth of the message that I'm conveying, the less likely they are to kill me, because then if they kill me, everybody would know what I was saying was true.
Oh.
So please share. But the single most important thing they can do for me is to pray for Psalm 91 protection for my family. I have children and grandchildren. They're innocent. If they can't get to me, they might try to get to my family. They might try to threaten a member of my family so that I would tell them what the dead man's switch is. I would not be able to do that, because I would know that no matter what they promised me, they'd kill my family member, they'd kill the people in the dead man's switch scenario, then they'd kill me. So I'm never going to give it up. If they took me in and tortured me, they'll have to kill me. This is what we're dealing with, this level of evil. I knew when I did it that I was putting my life at risk and perhaps the lives of friends and family. So I need the protection of God Almighty. because if he protects me under Psalm 91 and protects my family, no bullet, nobody will harm my family. God Almighty will keep them safe. So I ask for people's prayers.
Lin, I will tell you this. I told you today that I would pray for you without ceasing, and that's what I've been doing today. And I would just ask all of our listeners right now, just everybody join with me and just pray for Lin's protection. We're praying for you, sir. Thank you for sharing the truth. I'm going to get this produced and get this out right away as soon as possible here within the next 5-6 hours. And I greatly appreciate you sharing the truth. You're really helping to expose these atrocities, and hopefully we can end this devastation to our children.
Well, let me say this. There are other things going on in this country, but it all comes together in what is an effort that we're going to have to face where they're trying to steal our freedom and replace it with tyranny. Several months ago, I took a pledge on social media that I pledged to my fellow citizens, my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor, the same pledge that the signers of the Declaration took. Many of them lost their lives, they lost their fortunes, but they gave to the generations thereafter freedom. If that's the greatest gift I can give, I will give it. Other people need to recognize it's time to make the sacrifices. Don't sit around and wait for somebody else to act. You've got to go out and fight for your own freedom too, and the freedom of others. We're talking about freedom. But on the specific subject matter we're talking about now, you know how much I love my little puppies, don't you, Clay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the little children, too, in a Christian way. They're God's favorite child. He loves the little children. We have a duty morally and out of a matter of faith in God to, as a society, protect the little children for God's sakes. So that's why I've done what I've done.
Amen. Lin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Be safe. We're praying for you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Clay. God bless you and your listeners.
Bye. Thrive Nation, I know as you listen to today's show, you might be asking yourself, you're probably asking yourself, what can you do? What can you truly do to have an impact on what is happening? Well, we all have a different part to play. I'm headed to D.C. this morning. I'll be speaking there and conducting interviews and sharing the truth in the air everywhere and standing with our President of the United States. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now, whether you can come to D.C. or not, all of us have to, we're engaged in an information war. All of us are engaged in an information war, and you have to play your part. So I would encourage you to do today is fire me off a text to 918-851-6920 to get the facts related to today's show. And then I would encourage you to share this truth with everybody, every phone contact you have. Everybody. Even people that won't be receptive to it. Just share it. Share the truth in the air everywhere. And again, if you want the facts about the false COVID-19 models, the false PCR tests, the COVID-19 treatments that actually work, and that includes budesonide and ivermectin if you want that. If you want video footage of the George H.W. Bush funeral where you can see the envelopes that Lin has referenced in previous interviews, if you want to have access to all of this information, just fire me off a text. If you want to see the information showing that wearing masks makes healthy people sick, just send me a text. We'll get that information to you. But then you share the truth in the air everywhere, because it is the truth that shall set us free. It is the truth that shall set us free. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon.